Hey guys, Rich Nance with Wartac CQC. I've been a police officer for 22 years. My goal as a young kid was to be a martial arts instructor. So somewhere along the way, something went terribly wrong. Probably when I realized that they didn't have any health benefits and didn't make very much money. No, seriously, I was a lifelong martial artist. That started when I was 12 and never thought I would be anything but a martial arts instructor. As I got older, I worked at various jobs. I was a jeweler, sizing rings and setting stones, things like that. And I realized that that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I didn't feel like that was really making use of my best attributes. A friend of mine's father was a police officer, a lieutenant at a local agency, and I got to talking to him. Then his son, my good friend, became a police officer, and when I went on a ride along with him, I was hooked. I realized that law enforcement was indeed my calling. I attended a police academy and worked for a couple years, and I was sort of surprised that the martial arts that I had become so proficient in, the traditional martial arts, didn't really hold up too well against realistic violence. And that caused me to start examining, thinking, researching what can be done to give police officers a more realistic means of protecting themselves and of taking people into custody. One of the things I noticed early on was there was a huge separation between firearms training and defensive tactics or arrest and control training. Nowadays, people, intelligent agencies, progressive agencies have combined those because let's face the fact, whether you're law enforcement or a private citizen, it's one fight. You may shoot the guy and still have to fight him, or vice versa. So you have to be proficient with empty hand skills, but you have to supplement that with shooting skills. My interest in defensive tactics and shooting has led to me having several collateral assignments at the police department. I was a member of our SWAT team for 10 years. I was the assistant team leader and ultimately the team leader. I've been a lead firearms instructor for my department since 2005 and the lead arrest and control instructor since 2001. I teach several other disciplines, tactical driving, baton, less lethal munitions, taser, you name it. If it has to do with tactics, that's something I'm interested in and probably pretty proficient at. This led to me writing for some law enforcement specific periodicals, and then that led to writing for Guns and Ammo magazine and Handguns magazine and some of the newsstand firearms magazines. I've never been really a huge firearms nut, like tell you how many feet per second a bullet's traveling from a muzzle or whatever. I've always been much more interested in the tactical application of firearms. And to me, a firearm is a tool, just like your palm could be a tool to help you win a fight. Somehow, the writing led to some television work. I started doing a segment on Guns and Ammo TV in 2010. That was called The Police Perspective, and that kind of steamrolled into some other television opportunities with the Sportsman Channel. I hosted a program called Personal Defense TV for a couple years. I got to work with folks like Dave Spalding, Kelly McCann, Masad Ayub, and that was really an awesome opportunity for me. Most recently, I co-host a show called Handguns Defensive Weapons, which is sort of a variety show involving shooting. There's just a little bit of everything, a little bit of tactics and a little bit of new product review and things like that. I also have a company, Wartac CQC, where I provide tactical training to both law enforcement and to private citizens. It's funny because I thought that the writing would be sort of a means to an end, because at my heart, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm an instructor. That's what I'm passionate about, whether it's martial arts, whether it's shooting, or fortunately now I get to kind of combine both of those into close quarter shooting, fighting with your pistol, weapon retention and things like that. So that's really my forte. But the writing kind of grew legs and became its own other entity. So I do enjoy the writing because it gives me an opportunity to reach more people than I would just with being able to do training. Sometimes you may train, there may be a dozen people in your course, and that may be it. So you're traveling across the country just to train a dozen people, where there may be hundreds that read your particular article. To me, video training is sort of the best of both worlds, because people can get a better idea than they can from an article, much more in-depth discussion of a topic than you can get from an article. And they can rewind it if they want to see it again. None of these are a substitute for live training, hands-on training with a qualified instructor, but what I really prefer, and I know other instructors do too, is when you read their book or you watch their videos before going to their course, because then you're sort of prepared and you're not going there blind, and you're able to actually absorb a lot more when you have an understanding of the concepts that the instructor's curriculum is based on. I have some full-length instructional videos out with Panteao Productions. That's a great way to prepare yourself before coming to one of my classes, or if you can't make it out to a class, that's a great way to get a lot of the information. If you've been to a class, it serves as a great reference. Thank you for watching.